I found the hidden album at 12:41 a.m. The smile wasn't for me. I'm not jealous of photos. I'm jealous of what happens right before and after them. Pictures are arranged. Edges do violence politely. At 12:41 a.m., the kind of insomnia that eats its vegetables opened the Photos app on my phone and scrolled with my thumb's bored ambition. I didn't mean to tap hidden, which is really just later with better PR. The thumbnail looked like our bathroom, that stubborn faucet that hisses like it wants to be a river, the medicine cabinet with a mirror that keeps secrets out of loyalty rather than skill. Sam in the glass, half lit, a smile that tried on my shirt and wore it wrong. It was a live photo. I pressed and held, which is how you ask a moment to confess. The room inhaled, the zipper's quick consonant, the soft percussion of cologne against skin, the reverse hush of water quit midstream. Then, just left of the frame, a man laughed. "You're good," he said, not unkindly. It wasn't me. I watched again because disbelief insists on rehearsal. I tried to explain it to myself with neighbors, radios, a hallway that believed in ventriloquism. But the laugh came back to the exact same spot in the air, like a coin performing loyalty. I set the phone face down, which is how cowards practice wisdom, and stared at the ceiling that has learned my questions by shape. Sam had texted at 10:43, "Studio late, don't wait." He often says late the way weather says chance. I boiled water because water is honest and the kettle doesn't need narrative. At 7:05 the kettle did its ritual, and I poured 2 mugs like our apartment was a chapel that required coffee for sacraments. I left the live photo open on the counter, as if headlines could be domesticated by proximity. Sam came in wearing the hoodie that makes him look like an apology trying to graduate. "You're up," he said, which is a question disguised as an observation. "The bathroom thinks it's cinema," I said, turning the phone toward him. He watched. "The pupils did that thing where they become clocks." "Ah," he said, which is his 3-second vowel for buying courage wholesale. "That's from when Luca brought the preamp. We tested at ours because the studio couch has opinions about bones." He laughed at my razor caps. "Radios also laugh," I said, offering him a better lie than the one he'd prepared. He accepted it with gratitude that made me want to revoke it. "I'm not a detective. I edit sound for films where people do not get the endings they deserve. If you give me a lie, I don't know where to put the echo." I texted Matt, who is not a priest but has a zealot's devotion to sentences that work. "Lunch?" I asked. I have a laugh and a mouth full of silence. He wrote back, 12:40. One question only. At the north side, linen napkins, chairs that remember how to be furniture. Matt watched the live photo twice, then put my phone down like it might think it was the main character. "What you know, a laugh learned your bathroom," he said. "What you want, to stay a person, not a bouncer. Ask why or who, not both. If you ask both, you're letting midnight pick your pronouns." At home, I wrote on the fridge where our rules live under a rubber orange that thinks it's an anchor. "What happens out there passes through this table first." Sam put both palms flat, our therapist's trick for giving honesty a place to land. "Which question?" he asked. "Why is our mirror wearing someone else's sound?" I said. "Because the part wasn't coming," he said. He looked at the paint that wants to leave the wall and be a napkin. "Because the studio air was thick and Luca says our faucet sounds like forgiveness. Because Andrea thinks bathrooms are the last honest rooms and I believed him for 5 minutes. Because we were stupid about a track and worse about the hour. The phone did what phones do, made a short film out of a mess and called it memory." "Did you kiss him?" I asked, breaking Matt's law like a boy with a stick and a fence. "No," he said, and his mouth made the right shape for truth. "I know you collect the shapes." We added lines under the orange. He wrote the first with his precise mess. No home tests after midnight without a heads up. I wrote the second in block letters that were trying to be adult. If restlessness calls, we walk it together. He added one I wish I had thought of. If you record with me. It looked like a prayer someone could keep by accident. For a week the world remembered how to do Tuesday without theater. I delivered a cut on time. He delivered a bridge without arson. We ate at hours that didn't confess. My thumb stopped visiting hidden as if it were a bruise. Then Tuesday remembered its job. At 11:53 p.m., photos announced that people added to shared albums can see new items, which is a hostage note delivered by balloons. The thumbnail showed our table with 2 mugs and our dumb plant that refuses to die. The title was here. The live photo breathed, and I heard the hallway's electric hum, and then Sam said, "Hold on," to someone the frame refused to acknowledge. The clip ended like a coin trick you didn't consent to. I didn't text. I moved the kitchen chair to the middle of the room, our therapist's ridiculous, effective choreography. When Sam came home, he saw the chair and smiled the tired smile of a man grateful to be caught. "Move it with me." We slid it left and right, 1 sentence per inch, until the room believed us more than the frames did. "I almost added him to the album," he said. "I didn't because I knew I couldn't explain the why. I didn't because I want a life that doesn't need footnotes." He looked at the table like it might agree. "I am trying to be the version of me that doesn't ask you to write captions for my alibis." He got an invitation to a residency in the mountains, 7 days of windows and people who think silence is an instrument. He forwarded the email with all the attachments like courage in PDF. "I want to go without disappearing," he wrote. "I'll send pages, not alibis. When I get back, please ask, what did you write before what did you do?" I taped 2 commandments under the orange with a steadier hand than the one that wrote them. Addresses in the open. "A good night here, voice note every day." He sent weather disguised as theology. "Today the table forgave me. Today the page didn't, so I learned how to be furniture. Today I don't know anything and I'm here." I sent a photo of the coffee with good crema and the plant being its stubborn, miraculous self. We became 2 men mailing each other nouns until the verbs could be trusted again. At 12:41 a.m. on Wednesday, the little microphone blinked next to his name. "Recording." No bubble arrived. I typed a demand, turned it into a question, then into nothing. I moved the chair again and let my body tell my brain we have floor. He came back with a suitcase that didn't slam and a face that knew where it belonged. He put 2 pages on the table and watched them like a parent at a nursery window, proud, alarmed, alive. "They're not good," he said. "They're mine," I said, and we called that revision because revision is mostly forgiveness with a map. The hidden album kept existing. My thumb went there less. When I did press and hold, I listened for the first sound, the zipper, the faucet, the little bottle's glass click, and reminded myself that I can be in a frame without being on camera, that I can belong to the room and not the laugh, that I can let devices keep their nouns while we keep our address. Last night, because brains are teenagers who dare you to touch bruises, I opened the bathroom clip again and found it smaller than my terror remembered it. It was just a coin hitting a counter. It was not a rule. This morning at 7:05 I filmed the coffee because ritual is cheaper than religion and works better on Tuesdays. I wrote here in the caption. Sam slid his hand into the frame, palm to my palm without touching, a lid that doesn't claim to seal. "Here," he said. He added one more line under the orange without asking permission. "If a room is about to learn our names, we teach it together." If another night hands me an honest misunderstanding, a laugh around a corner, a thumbnail that refuses to admit how small it is, an album that forgets to keep its hands to itself, I hope I remember the handful of humiliating, useful acts that keep us from auditioning for strangers. Put water on. Move the chair. Ask why before who. Wait for the key in the lock like it's the first note in a song you still want to learn. Let hidden keep its nouns. The rest, bathrooms that think they're cinemas, albums that think they're fate, laughter that practiced elsewhere, can stay where it belongs. Background. If we're any good at this, we'll keep being the address. And when we can't be, we'll at least have a table, 2 mugs, an orange magnet, and a chair that knows how to be ridiculous and effective at the same time. Exactly where it needs to be.